Hey guys, I'm Dov, and this has to be one of the best Dwarves versus Greenskins games I have ever played. We've got it paused here because we need to start out talking about deployment and the army selections, of course, but yeah, we both mass vanguarded on top of each other. So we've got a heavy line of miners here, Norgremling's Iron Breakers, and the miners do have quite a few chevrons, which is interesting. They do have decent enough attack and defense stats with these chevrons. Of course, the blasting charges help with armor piercing damage. Definitely an interesting choice. In addition, we've got a line of rangers here, Bugman's Rangers, Rangers with Great Weapons, we've got Ulthar's Raiders as well. Leading the dwarfs is a Rune Lord up on his wagon, or his anvil rather. We've got a couple slayers as well. For my Gobbo force, you can see Wah has been popped immediately. Goblin Great Shaman over here. We've got Mangy Marauders, Squig Hoppers, two Squig Hoppers there, two Squig Hoppers on the far side. Main army is going to be a mix of some chevroned skulkers, and we've got a few loons as well. 8 Peak Loonies, Fanatics, and the Warlord's Boys. 3 groups of Goblin Archers. So without further ado, let's have some fun. Oh yeah, I also almost forgot, I do have a Night Goblin mana battery and a couple of Wolf Riders in the corner as well. So right off the bat, you can see in this pocket, the archers are going to be in a bit of a pickle as they are matched up directly into miners, and the blasting charges are going to get popped. We pop Fanatics though immediately through those Norgremling's Iron Breakers, getting some good damage in. Initially, these miners are going to get eaten by squigs. But yeah, blasting charges just roasting through tons of these goblins over here. Definitely a very rough situation. Likewise, though, this unit of miners getting swarmed very efficiently, but it does provide a great blob for those miners, those Ekran's miners, which do have extra blasting charges, mind you, to throw their blasting charges in there and just do some devastating damage to the light goblins. You can see we are getting a little bit more of sort of a standard melee engagement here. Slayer's going to be matched up against the Night Goblins, which is honestly a decent enough engagement for me. That being said, more blasting charges will change that very quickly and thin out the goblins. Meanwhile, over here, we've shattered one group of miners, though some slayers have come to chase those squig hoppers away. These fanatics did get some good work done initially, but yeah, you can see already lots of losses on both sides. We're moving into a position now. Night Goblin Shaman just kind of chilling here. The Goblin Archers shooting. Let's check, does the Rune Lord have the missile resistance item? I believe he does. Let's see here. No, in fact, he does not. Oh, yes, he does. Okay, so me shooting him with the arrows is going to do a minimal amount of damage, but that being said, he's just going to be a tanky character for me to try and kill in general. Over here, Squig Hoppers sweeping in to sweep up some miners with blasting charges. The other Squig Hoppers here are going to get in. The Gyros, I did fail to mention, one unit of Brimstone Guns providing some nice anti-large fire. You can see over here, Squig Hoppers again getting into those Bugman's Rangers. Bugman's Rangers actually will hold up okay against Squig Hoppers. They do have decent melee stats. 38 melee defense in particular, of course, that regeneration, and they do also have charge defense against large, but oh man, those blasting charges just annihilate those Squig Hoppers. Norgremling's Iron Breakers taking no prisoners, and the Wolf Riders are going to come in now a little bit late to the party, but you know, the lack of armor piercing won't be so much of an issue when they are going after these Bugman's Rangers here. Because these Bugman's Rangers are very tattered, the Wolf Riders should be able to clean them up in the late game here. I brought them mostly to chase down routing troops, but meanwhile, Goblin Archers here providing a nice firing line. We did get them all, you know, rallied and reset. They're going to be continuing to pour in a negligible amount of damage, just wasting tons of ammunition on this Rune Lord. Between all his different negation effects there, he will take a minimal amount of damage. Definitely tanking out quite nicely, but I do have another infantry line sort of getting ready for Phase 2, if you will. Got some rallying troops over here. Got some rallying troops here. The Mangy Marauders coming back from route had been providing some really nice Overwatch fire. 18 kills so far. We're now going to get them to go after those Gyrocopters. But another really nice volley of blasting charges here. Does a lot of damage to those Skulkers. Thankfully, those Ekran's miners have taken quite a few losses already, so they don't have quite so many blasting charges left. But still, we've got multiple healthy units here, including those Iron Breakers, have taken, you know, maybe half their HP and damage so far, but The Night Goblin Shaman on the Wolf, honestly, I do quite like him for a Lord selection. 50 charge bonus with Sneaky Stab, and he does have 50 melee attack as well. Gonna get in here and do a little bit of melee damage against the Rune Lord just for fun. We do also have Itchy Nuisance debuffing the Rune Lord, so he won't do a whole lot, but the friendly fire of these Gobos is actually going to hit a lot of those squigs and rout them off fairly quickly, although they do come in here and do a little bit of armor-piercing damage, which is always nice. Meanwhile, on the far side, we do shatter the Ekron's Miners there with some Skulkers, this second wave now pushing in, and we are able to get into the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers here, even with their armor sundered from the Warlord's boys, still 95 armor, just absolute beasts. And Skulkers routing from the field. The AP Gloonies, though, unbreakable, of course, still fighting. And I do still have 2 casts left of their Fanatics, so I'm definitely going to want to try and conserve at least a couple of unit models if I can. Meanwhile, over here, Mangy Marauders, the Brimstone Guns have used up the last of their damage, so they may be dropping down into melee soon, getting a few shots into Slayers. Of course, the AP won't matter a whole lot there, but meanwhile over here, we've got these Wolf Riders. They are going to start to clean up some of these units on the periphery. Same thing with these Squig Hoppers. We've been able to clean up some routing units, keep those Dowie from returning to the field, because of course, their leadership is impressive. And yeah, we've got just a handful of these AP Gloonies left. There's, what, 5, even more dropping, so we definitely in a pickle there. As for the rest of the fight, Bounce Power starting to turn against me a little bit as these Gyrocopters do come in. Crown of Command, though, on those nasty Skulkers. It's a big reason why I bring this, is just, you know, to keep a Goblin from routing if you need them to. You know, typically in a battle, there will be a time when you need a specific unit to not run away, and they definitely got some good work in there. 84 kills, of course, I've been using that Sneaky Stabbing on those Skulkers specifically. Try saying that 5 times fast. Just because, of course, they have innately good armor-piercing damage, and that melee attack buff definitely helps them quite a bit. Gyrocopters try and come down, and again, Sneaky Stabbing on the Mangy Marauders here will allow them to pretty much finish off the Gyros. And keep in mind, all of this time that the little Shaman is in melee, he is recharging the Wa, and I got that one initially, you know, on that first part of the battle, and I haven't been able to recharge a full one since then. But let's see, we've still got plenty of time left. Balance of power maybe slightly in the Dwarves' favor, but you can see that magic missile does basically nothing to the Rune Lord, as you know, all of his defensive effects apply. But at this point, we're going to start to fast forward a little bit as we do clean up some routing units there, and we're going to start to sort of bring things together. Start to use up some of the ammunition on these Night Goblin Archers. Very nice use of the Master Rune of Oath and Steel there to give those Slayers some extra armor to weather some of that fire. Eventually, though, he decides he's a bit sick of it, so we're going to go ahead and get a full surround here. These Night Goblins that are out of ammo going to move in now for a grim fight against the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. Likewise, the Gobbo Shaman moves in to do a little bit of fighting himself, I believe. No, not quite. He's hanging back somewhere else. But we do still have this one 8-peak loon left to come in and potentially get some Fanatics cast. Those Norgrimling's Ironbreakers taking some damage from those nasty Skulkers as they do have that Sneaky Stabbing active. Again, buffing up their melee attack and their armor-piercing damage. Once that goes away, it will be a bit rough, but we're going to have to be careful. The Goblin Great Shaman, if he takes too much damage, could lead to critical army losses, even if he doesn't die. But here we're going to use the second of our final Fanatics cast. It does look like it makes decent enough contact with those Slayers. Actually kills a few unit models. Wow, yeah, it actually killed a handful of them. That was actually pretty impressive. There are still some Slayers there, so a smoke bomb here just to keep these units from trying to, you know, respond to the cycle charge. And the cycle charge definitely going to be very real. Unfortunately, those little Skulkers had done some really nice damage to the Ironbreakers. Once the buffs wear off, it will be a little bit less so, and they're going to struggle to get through that 82 melee defense of those Ironbreakers. The Slayers, though, now running into a field of goblins. This is what we all came to see here, is a Night Goblin Archers fighting Slayers in melee, right? 2 units that absolutely not really meant to fight each other, although the Slayers will carry a favorable advantage here. You can see them doing a ton of damage to those Archers. We also drop an Itchy Nuisance here, get a nice rear charge with those Squig Hoppers. Again, everything we can do, every little bit of damage we can put in on these Ironbreakers and on this Rune Lord is going to matter greatly as we try and finish this out in the late game. Night Gobbo takes a hit in the head from the hammer, which is not the best. Does take a bit of damage from that, although thankfully the Rune Lord doesn't have the most weapon strength in the world. You can see the Slayers did manage to rout off those Night Goblins, but at what cost? There's only 14 of them left. They are very, very low on HP there, and you can see the Mana Battery Gobbo is actually going to be quite useful. And did you guys know that the Night Goblin Shaman with no abilities or spells costs only 150 points? I honestly had no idea he was that cheap, but if you just need something with Encourage for 150 points, that might actually not be a bad idea just to take him with nothing. Of course, I have him just with the Wand of Jet here, which sort of makes him a very cheap, efficient mana battery, has allowed me to get a lot of extra Winds of Magic, because of course the Goblin Shaman does have Arcane Conduit himself, so he can stack these two effects and get some magic in this late game here. And yeah, this is going to be sort of a good demonstration of attack versus defense. You can see how this guy only has 6 HP, but he's taking 0 damage. This is because, oh, finally gets killed there. That attack animation actually worked. The way it works is that melee attack goes versus melee defense, and it's either a yes or no, you know, hit or miss, basically, dice roll. But, oh man, did I miss it? Oh, geez, I missed it. The last of the AP Gloonies there on his true mission ran in and through his last Fanatics cast through those Norgurlings Ironbreakers, doing just a hair more damage to them, and it did put their leadership quite low as well. You can see they're really not happy in terms of their leadership. That being said, the balance of power is pretty heavily in the Dwarves' favor, so I'm going to have to be careful not to trigger critical army losses here. So, one last... what is that? Vindictive Glare actually goes after the Ironbreakers there, maybe takes down a model or two, and here we go. The final engagement, Night Gobbos moving in, the Wolves moving in from the other side, Archers getting a full surround here, and you can see that the Norgurlings Ironbreakers leadership gives out. Master Rune of Oathensteel not able to save them, and Sneaky Stabbin' on the Goblin Great Shaman himself. Again, just going to continue to cycle charge, try and take advantage of that 50 charge bonus to do as much melee damage as we can to this Rune Lord here. If we can finish him off, maybe we can finish off the leadership, but he does get a counter strike there, does a little bit of damage, and he will, will continue to just bop those Gobbos. So, this is going to take a bit of time. We're going to fast forward a little bit as the Gobbo continues to cycle charge here, and the Night Goblin Shaman continues to get hits from the rear as well. Obviously, being a heroic unit, he does have a decent amount of weapon strength. 280 is decent, and if he can get hits in the rear especially to bypass the melee defense of the Rune Lord, that's why I've got one hero on one side and one hero on the other. And will it be enough? It's so close. We're inching back on the balance of power. Those Norgurlings Ironbreakers did come back from rout, but seemingly forgotten for the moment. And finally, we've got another Wa available, and this is the killing blow. Finally, we have the melee attack on all these units to start to get consistent hits on the Rune Lord. You can see his leadership starts to tank. He actually routs, and it will be a victory for the Gobbos. And holy guacamole, what a battle, huh? How many times do you see a, double full Vanguard on top of each other? Dwarves versus all Goblins go a full 13 minutes, absolutely down to the wire. Holy cow, guys. That's one of the best battles I think I've ever had the pleasure to play. So hopefully you all enjoyed watching it. Super back and forth, and let's dive into this post-battle analysis here. You can see the Skulkers definitely did the majority of the heavy lifting in terms of numbers here. 58, 84, 93, very good stuff. The Fanatics as well, 55 kills on the Loons at the end of the day. Not bad. 25 for the other unit of Fanatics, pretty decent. Squig Hoppers also, the ones on the left side at least, absolutely 8 Subminers. 105 kills here, very impressive, 54. The other Squig Hoppers had a little bit more of a rough time, but definitely contributing some key damage there. Likewise, Wolf Riders chasing routing units was great. The Night Goblin Archers wasted a lot of their ammo shooting the Rune Lord, but hey, every little bit of damage ended up counting at the end of the day, so was it really wasted? For the Dwarf side, you can see the miners that got eaten alive immediately got very little done. The rest, though, very impressive kill totals, and look at that for the Ekron's miners, 111 kills because of those extra volleys of blasting charges, and Norgremlings Ironbreakers, 343 kills. That has to be the highest number of kills in a multiplayer battle that I think I've ever seen on a unit of infantry. That is just wildly impressive. 51 kills on the Rangers. Bugman's, one did well, one did not. Again, Ulthar's Raiders sort of ended up getting eaten up in that initial phase there, but 78 for the Brimstone guns. You know, they definitely had a lot of variety of cav to shoot at, but it may have been worthwhile for them to just come over and try and snipe the Goblin Great Shaman. They are fast enough to keep up with him, and with their anti-large missiles, they could probably take him out relatively quickly. I mean, he is fast enough to maybe dodge their projectiles, so it's not a given, but I'd be curious to see, you know, if he had been chasing me around the whole time with the gyro. If he had been able to do enough damage to the Goblin Great Shaman, I wouldn't have had enough left in the tank to get that cycle charge there at the end, but, I mean, come on, guys. A cycle charging goblin on a wolf, like, really? Oh, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. I know I sure did. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.